EA CEO finally speaks up about the Dragon Age Veilguard fiasco, and it is as cringe as you would imagine. Guys, this is no joke. Electronic Arts CEO Andrew Wilson has finally addressed the disaster of the game. During the EA's QT 2025 earnings conference call, Wilson lamented the company's financial struggles, pointing to the underperformance of EA Sports FC and the Veilguard. Now, this is what they said about the problem they had with Veilguard. Instead of confronting the real reason why the game failed, because it's obvious blatant pandering to the modern audience which failed, Wilson is shifting the blame to a supposed lack of shared world features and deeper engagement mechanics. Corporate speak for this game should have been a live service cash grab instead of a single player RPG. So he is effectively shifting the entire blame of the failure they have made to the fact that, well, you know, maybe we should have made this a live service game, which was supposed to be a live service game in the beginning, but then we, caved in and we made a single player game, and now it looks like we made the mistake and it should have been a service live game. So effectively they're just trying to shift the blame and just blame the gamers, blame the market, blame the shifting trends as the reason why the game absolutely flopped. I mean, guys, this, you just cannot make this stuff up, man. This is insanity beyond any level. He went on and said the following as well: in order to break out beyond the core audience, games need to directly connect to the evolving demand of players who increasingly seek shared world features and deeper engagement, alongside high quality narrative in this beloved category. Dragon Age had a high quality launch and was well reviewed by critics and those who played. I'm not sure about that, because just go to Metacritic and you'll see the truth. However, it did not resonate with a broad enough audience in this highly competitive market. After a long, bumpy development, Dragon Age the Veilguard finally emerged last year as a single-player game, but of course, an earlier iteration of the project had been intended to include plenty of online play and live service features. Some of the stuff actually we can see from the game even on release, like the combat mechanics was really dumbed down, quite surprisingly, because it was meant to be a live service game with kind of like not that much depth and cheap gameplay to kind of like have that constant loop of like Diablo-like, I guess. You just go in, you kill enemies, you go back, you get loot, basically just go and repeat, rinse and repeat effectively. So, this is a thing that I guess what you wanted to do. And now they just said that, yeah, because of that, the game has flopped because the game did not have the online features that EA believes would have made the game sell more copies. Now, of course, what are they going to say about Mass Effect 5? I mean, are they going to now change Mass Effect 5 to be a game as a service? We don't know. What if they do that, they change Mass Effect 5 to be game as a service, then the game flops again? What are they gonna blame it on? On the shifting trend again, that now people like single player games after 4 years or 5 years? Do you see the problem here? Like, they're just trying to avoid the truth, the elephant in the room, which is just blatantly bad writing, horrendous gameplay features such as modern dialogue and like just the character, how they were, the whole thing, man. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Even like the graphics, like they were cheap, animated, kind of like cartoonish Fortnite graphics, which they believed it would resonate with the broader audience. So do you see here, like they're trying to basically pull a fast one on the investors and just reject all of the blame, all of the responsibility. The CEO does not want to have to do anything with any responsibility on this matter. So Wilson comments make a huge, massive thing clear. EA is refusing to learn from its mistakes 100%. Instead of recognizing the poor writing, weak gameplay, and forced ideology messaging that killed the Veilguard, Wilson is doubling down on the corporate nonsense about how the game should have had more engagement and shared world features. The reality is quite simple. Fans have rejected Dragon Age the Veilguard because it wasn't, not because it was a live service game, no. They rejected because it was bad. It was really bad, and it was not what people were waiting for. They were waiting for a realistic, like, dark, gritty, fantasy, action RPG game, with lots of like interesting themes and interesting characters and like, effectively quests which were like sometimes, you know, dangerous and whatnot for your side characters, but you get none of that. Everyone tries to be friendly and happy in Veilguard. It's almost like a fantasy land. You cannot argue with anyone. It's just like, it just feels so bland and pathetic, and they're trying to tell you now that it's not because of that, their writers are fine. So why did they fire the writers? I mean, this is the question. Right now, BioWare has less than 100 employees. They fired all the directors which were working on this game, all the narrative writers, all the writers, all the people who are working on the script. All of these people got fired. So that's the question. If they were so confident on their story, on their scripting, on their, I know, quest building, whatever, right, on the world building, then why did they fire the people who built the world? Why did they fire everyone who was involved in the actual story elements of the game, if they believed that the game was fine in that aspect? Do you see the problem here? Do you see the main problem? The problem is that EA is lying to their teeth to basically make sure that the investors stay with them and don't pull away. To stay with them and keep them giving them money, to give them money for their future projects, and of course don't ask them very uncomfortable questions, such as, did it not underperform because maybe the game was a pile of trash, potentially? But no, you cannot say that. No, that's not possible. You have to tell them. You have to tell them that the game failed because it was not a live service game. Guys, this is crazy, insane, and I cannot believe what I am seeing. But this is going to be their downfall. Same as what happens with Ubisoft. They don't want to learn. They refuse to learn. They refuse to listen to gamers. And guess what happened to Ubisoft? Well, the share price is almost like 10 euros per share right now. So this is what happens when you don't listen to gamers. So guys, that's it for today's video on this one. Hopefully you enjoyed this very funny thing. I mean, honestly, I did never expect that this is gonna happen for like companies like EA to even, you know, have this main issue that they don't want to go forward, and because they have lots of money, right? They have tons of money, and the investors know that, you know, they want to make lots of profits. So by refusing to acknowledge the problem, and they're just refusing to make profit, I mean, I just don't understand, because EA is all about making money, right? There's all about making money, so I just don't understand why they don't come clean. Or they cannot come clean because some of their investors have ties with BlackRock and Vanguard, and because of that they cannot say it outright, so they're kind of like fixing stuff in the background, but on the public face, you know, the corporate public face, the PR face, they cannot say the truth to the investors potentially. I mean, I don't know guys, but this is clear cut that this is pathetic behavior, and this is why other companies such as Ubisoft are going into bankruptcy, because instead of listening to what gamers actually want and look at the feedback, look at the YouTubers, look at the influencers, look at the players, look at the comments on Twitter or on other places, and actually read their reviews on Metacritic, for example, they refuse to do that. They classify that as white noise or like, you know, hateful people, whatever, and then they continue with their agenda. But let me ask you this very simple question: how long do you think this agenda will last them? Because I believe it's not gonna last any longer, guys. It is coming to an end. Anyway guys, that's it for today's video. As always, see you later in the next one.